It's no secret that Halo Infinite is home to some of the most gorgeous helmet designs in the series. Today, I'm going to start my armor review series, starting with the Mk7, Halo Infinite's main core, and doing a video every day about the different cores, breaking down and ranking each of these helmets against each other, as well as the ones that they are based on. For example, TRAILBLAZER is based on Recon, so I'm going to be comparing it to Recon, but also to the other helmets in the Mk7 core. I'm ranking these based on personal preference as well as how well they compare to that previous version, and we'll be factoring in the attachments to this list, but only the default attachment that it comes with. That said, this list is going to be a bit controversial, and I'm not going to be factoring in shop costs to this list. Everyone knows that the shop isn't ideal, but you've heard people complain about it enough. Alrighty, let's go ahead and get into this. Number 18, STORMFALL / Gun Year. I really do not like how this helmet looks. Even with the attachments, it's bad. Without the attachments, it looks like a goofy, smiling man with mutton chops. And sure, the mutton chops are a unique addition to the design. However, they're awful. I don't think they paid off in many fans' eyes. And comparing it to what the helmet used to be, wow. This is arguably one of the biggest downgrades Halo has seen as far as helmet designs go. So with all that said, I'm going to have to give this a 3 out of 10. Nothing in Halo Infinite is a 0 out of 10 in this core. But a 3, I wouldn't wear it. Number 17, AVIATOR. I know it's controversial, but I have never liked this helmet's design. It reminds me way too much of cheap motocross, and I will give it credit. It's better than the Halo 5 version, but that's pretty much everything in Infinite. Halo 5 had some awful armor designs, and AVIATOR is kind of a holdover. I know it was also in Halo 4, I believe, and it was still ugly then. It's always been bad. So with all that said, I'm going to give it a 3.5 out of 10. Number 16, Rampart. Poor EOD, what have they done to you? And the nerve to not add the brim as an attachment to cover over this like ugly visor it's appalling. Like I don't even know how much more I could say about the EOD's redesign here other than it's bad. Now, I've never been a huge fan of the EOD, but I've worn it on occasion in Halo 3 and Halo Reach, especially if I was feeling a Star Wars mood, because it reminds me a lot of like the Stormtroopers. And it's kind of sad to see that you can't do that anymore with this version. And honestly, 343 has gone the complete opposite direction that many fans have hoped for. Back in Halo 3, there were 2 individual eyes giving it a menacing glare. For Halo Reach and future games, they widened the visor to make it one solid piece, and a lot of fans weren't happy with that. I liked it, I thought it gave it a more militaristic feel, but for some reason 343 decided to go a step further and gave it a receding hairline, and no cap to cover it. I'm also going to be giving this one a 3.5 out of 10. Number 15. TRAILBLAZER / Recon. Remember when Recon was iconic, sleek, stealthy, sexy? The 3 S's. I do. But for some reason, 343 has never been able to nail the Recon design, and this is probably their weakest attempt yet. Without the attachment, it looks unfinished, and you don't even know what it could be. With the attachment, it just reminds you how much better old Recon designs are, especially with Infinite's giant chin plates. And honestly, I think the fact that most people didn't recognize this as Recon says everything I need to say. It's too boxy, it's ugly. 4 out of 10. Number 14, LINEBREAKER / Enforcer. This helmet's not bad. It's not. It's also not good. I think this is the dividing point for helmets. I would never wear any of the helmets before this one, and I wouldn't wear this one, but I don't consider it ugly. This is the drawbar, the line in the sand, the helmet that's too generic to wear or hate. It just exists. It's an upgrade from the Halo 5 version. That's it. 5 out of 10, middle of the road. Number 13, CAVALLINO / Recruit. This is everyone's starting helmet, and truth be told, it's not an awful design. Sure, it's got its fans, but I think it's honestly held back by being associated with the default. It's a major improvement on Halo 4 and 5's version of this helmet, and I'd not be surprised to see somebody wearing it proudly. However, it's just good enough to be the default, but it's still a solid 5.5 out of 10. Number 12, oh boy, I know I'm going to get some flack for this, but I don't have an attachment to this helmet. Mark V Zeta has to be the ugliest version of the Mark V helmet to exist. I said it, I'm not proud of it, but it's true. It's not as sleek and iconic as the Halo 1 version, and it's not as defined as like the Halo 2 onwards. It also doesn't help that I just never got into Halo Wars, so I've never had a connection to it. I just don't see the appeal. The bottom half is weirdly round and the top half is weirdly blocky. It just seems unfinished. The vents in the mouth don't seem to be deep enough. It just seems it's not right. It wants to be two things at once, and I think it fails at both. I'm not shocked to see that it has its fans, because the Mark V is iconic to the point where even a bad version of it is still only number 12 on the list. But that said, it's a 6 out of 10. Number 11, Soldier. It's kind of weird. There's only one thing holding this helmet down for me, and I didn't notice it for a while. For a while, I played with this helmet happy, never seeing the dreaded little mouth. Why is he so happy? Why does he have a mouth? I hate it. I'm sorry. This one detail has ruined an otherwise pretty good helmet for me. Like, I wore this a bit in Halo 4, but I can't. It's just, ugh. The psychic damage that seeing the little mouth has done to me, I can't properly express. Why couldn't this have had an attachment to cover the little mouth hole? I don't get it and I don't like it. I'm sorry. 6.5 out of 10. Number 10, CELOX/Scout. You know, I love that they're going back to the classic Scout design. I think they did it in Halo 4 and 5, but definitely Halo 3, where it has this big triangular mouthpiece. Honestly, it's iconic in a way that the Halo Reach one never was, even though I'm a fan of the Reach design. And really, there's nothing negative about this helmet. It's just not one I would put on very often. And that's a theme for a lot of them coming up, is that they're great designs, I just wouldn't wear them. Halo Infinite did a great job with the majority of their helmet designs, to the point that I could clearly see if somebody's like, yeah, this is my favorite helmet. But I don't see it very often. And so when I do, it's like, oh, yeah, that's actually pretty sick. It's a 7 out of 10. Number 9, War Master. In truth, the only reason it's this low is because I find the idea of a skull-shaped visor to be a little edgy for my tastes. I know it's kind of a silly reason, and many people love it exactly for that. Just, it's not for me. But I do like this version of War Master. They made the skull shape a bit more believable, but it's still definitely a skull. But if skulls aren't your thing, like they're not mine, this isn't for you. It's still a 7.5 out of 10 though. Number 8, ISR. Before this helmet released, I was really into it. I liked the smaller visor and the kind of reptilian shape to the helmet. However, when I view it alongside other helmets higher up on this list, it feels like it's either missing something or there's just a little too much. And honestly, I don't know which it is. It's nice to look at, but when I look at it compared to the others, I don't know. This one's tied with War Master for me at about a 7.5 out of 10. I might give it a 7.6 because I would use it more often than War Master, but it's purely personal preference. Number 7, Zvezda/EVA. Man, I hope I pronounced that right. This is a nice helmet. It's iconic in nearly every way. The smooth visor is sleek. The V shape to the details, it's honestly incredible. I think as far as EVA designs go, this is iconic, but there's a small reason it's not higher for me. I think Halo Reach did the design a little better, and it almost feels a little too organic for the Mark 7 armors. Just the smooth flowing lines, the beautiful angles, it's all a little bit alien. I feel like this might have been like the first helmet they designed when they weren't sure if they were going to use the Halo 4 and 5 art style or the Halo Infinite one. But that helps it stand out, and I can honestly say it's an 8 out of 10. Number 6, another controversial pick, but ANUBIS. I love the design. I do. Don't get me wrong. It's still in the top 10. It's number 6. And I can see why this is everyone's favorite helmet. It's almost got like this tarantula spider-like quality where it's angry and predatory. And it's without a doubt 343's most famous original helmet. I think that's fair to say. For good reason. Look at it. I can't give it anything lower than an 8.5 out of 10. Number 5, Brawler/CQB. This helmet is so close to being my go-to helmet. Nearly perfect. However, the visor's iconic T-shape has been covered up, and this would have really benefited from Infinite's trend of removing an iconic feature, making it optional. Like, if I could make the little mouthpiece more optional, it would be great. I would probably use it over anything else. It's still enough to land it a little bit shy of the top spot. CQB is a design that just works. If you've seen me in-game or in my other videos, you know I rock CQB as my main helmet right now. I wear it on my Mark V, and it's gorgeous. The Mark 7 version, while a little off, it still manages to be charming. It still has a bit of that CQB pop, and I still enjoy it. It's big, round, and simple, and I'm a sucker for big, round, and simple. 8.6 out of 10. Number 4, Valorant/Air Assault. I really like how this helmet looks in game. It's kind of a more blocky, angular version of Air Assault, and it's a bit tall, but in the best of ways. Like, I rocked this helmet for quite a while because I love how sleek it looks. And if you're building your Spartan to look sleek and slim, this helmet accentuates that design perfectly. It's gorgeous. 8.7 out of 10. All right, now we're into the top 3. Number 3, FIREFALL / ODST. This helmet has to be in the top 3. I have always loved the ODST helmets, and I mean, look at this. Dare I say this may be the best version of ODST we have ever had. It took everything that I loved about Helljumper from Halo 5 and blended it with a classic feel. However, I feel like we just don't see this helmet enough. I understand why with the weird shop inclusion and how it was, but it was still incredible. It's godly helmet design all the way, 9 out of 10. Number 2, surprising no one who has watched my shop session videos, the Enigma. It's very close for number 1 because back when the closed flighting was happening, I was rocking this helmet all day. I love this helmet. And so I've built kind of a connection to it because it was like the first one I worked up to. It's big, round, and chunky, kind of like if the Mark 5B from Halo Reach and CQB had a weird baby. And I honestly love it. I keep checking the shop for it every week and I'm hoping it returns because when it does, that's a mine. That said, 9.5 out of 10. Leaving us with 0 surprises for the top of the list. Number 1, Mark 7. Seriously, is there any surprise? This is a work of art. It's so good they've retroactively ported it to previous games. It may be the perfect Halo helmet. They took everything that made the Mark 5 design work and made it even better, even sharper, even sleeker, even more angular. And they added some gorgeous details to work with. So now we have this super slick, wide cheek, sharp, detailed, angry, gorgeous helmet. And it's honestly pure perfection. There's only one reason I don't wear it more. It's just because everyone wears it. And why wouldn't they? It's beautiful. So to no one's shock, awe, nor surprise, it gets a 10 out of 10. I can't wait for Crosscore to come out because I'm throwing that on my Rakshasha. So there we go. That's all 18 Mark 7 helmets so far ranked. Next video, I'll be going over the Mark 5B / Reach Core. So stay tuned for that video. If you like this video, give it a like to boost it up in the algorithm. Comment your rankings below because I want to do a follow-up with me versus the community. And subscribe for more Halo content nearly every day of the week. Thank you.